Hello and welcome to Let's Review. A couple of months back, I reviewed the game Sunrider First Arrival, and I was pretty positive about it overall. It was reasonably enjoyable, and for a free game it was an absolute steal. But to be honest, I don't think I appreciated how much I enjoyed it until about a month ago, when the developers, Love in Space, announced that the second part, Mask of Arcadius, would be released on October the 1st. And I started to get really excited. So the question becomes, does Part 2 justify that excitement? Well, to answer that question, we start the same place we always do, with the gameplay. Broadly speaking, the gameplay for Mask of Arcadius is the same as First Arrival, although it has undergone one significant change. It's now hex-based. Previously, the combat map for each Sunrider battle was square-based. As you can see, it has now become hex-based, which does have its advantages. In addition, you can now place your fleets at the beginning of each battle, which you could not before. So for example, I could choose to place the Sunrider here. And because I like to bunch up my formation so that they can cover her, I'll place Sola behind her.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Kriska and the Paladin on this flank, the Blackjack with the Saga piloting it over on this flank, since these two can actually take a little bit of fire.
What? I'm not doing this because I like you.
Akari is my fast scout here, and then defensively, Chigara
Captain, you better keep your eyes on me.
and Claude there. This is a nice tight defensive formation. So I've got the Sunrider's excellent flak defense covering everybody. I've got the shields provided by Claude and by Chigara, and I have my sniper at the back with my main ship with lots of riders to screen it. This is a reasonably effective formation.
All systems are green.
As with before, I have a variety of options regarding my attacks. So for example, I can fire off a kinetic barrage at this enemy base, which does significant damage. And because I've significantly upgraded the Sunrider's reactors and reduced the amount of the amount of energy it takes for each kinetic barrage, I could fire off a second bolt, which is sufficient to destroy the enemy base. I also have enough left over to fire my assault guns, which are reasonably effective against lighter enemies such as riders, though their accuracy does drop off significantly at range. However, again, because of the amount of upgrading I've done to the Sunrider, I can fire off a second volley, which should be significant to kill this rider. Or very close. From there,
Phoenix reporting.
I can make use of the Phoenix, which is effectively a scout and rider killer. So if I advance it, get it close enough to do some severe damage to that rider, in fact enough to kill it, and then pull her back to the rest of the fleet. And just to make sure she's inside of everybody's defensive envelopes, I can use one of Claude's support abilities, Gravity Pull, to pull her back.
Holding position, sir.
Then I've got riders like Paladin, which is designed to take on heavier ships. So it's got kinetic guns, and it's also got an assault gun. Now our assault gun isn't particularly powerful, but against an already badly crippled rider, it should be more than sufficient to kill it.
Hit confirmed.
Or not quite. That rider is lasting longer than I expected to. Either way, I'll now use a kinetic barrage targeted at that ship.
Hit confirmed.
Even with only a 40% accuracy chance, her guns are powerful enough to do severe damage when they do hit. Classic balancing act. Sola is my primary sniper. Now her kinetic weapon isn't that accurate at long range, unless I use Awaken, which significantly boosts her for the following turn. In addition, I've still got additional orders such as Full Forward, Repair Drones, and the Vanguard Cannon, but I've now got a few additional abilities as well, including Resurrection, which allows me to bring someone back into the battle, Short Range Warp, which did become available in First Arrival at the final mission, which allows me to jump the Sunrider anywhere onto the map, and All Guard, which is similar to Full Forward, but a defensive variant of it, providing boosts to evasion and shield generation. And fundamentally, that's the combat of Sunrider. When I hit the end turn button, the enemies will all be able to attack me, and I have various defences that should ward off the worst of what they can throw at me. To be fair, I do really like this change, especially when you consider things like shields and flak defences, which are now far closer to being circular, giving them a much more natural feel than the old square-based system. It's also much better for arranging your fleets, especially if you're like me and you like to focus everything into a tight group so that everyone is inside each other's defensive envelopes. Overall, the combat is better than it was, and it was already pretty solid. As for the research system, it's basically exactly the same. There's been a few tweaks to the prices, but other than that, it hasn't changed enough, so I'm not going to bother showing it to you again. One other area where there has been some interesting improvement is the store, which now offers you a few more options. While the store was a factor in First Arrival, it was fairly limited, offering you the ability to buy additional warheads, upgrade those warheads, and purchase repair drones. For the second part of the game, it has been significantly improved with a variety of additional options, including the ability to give the Sunrider a shield. You can also upgrade the quality of the Liberty's repairs, which was something that I suggested in my previous review. I don't know if this has been included because I suggested it, but either way, thanks for including it. You also now have the ability to hire a number of mercenary ships, so we can get some cruisers, or we can even get a few small frigates, which are potentially very useful. The ability to hire mercenary ships is a very nice addition, and it allows you to field far larger fleets, which can be especially necessary during some of the later missions, as the number of enemies that this game will throw at you can start to feel a little excessive at times. I mean, look at that! That's just... oh, holy Christ. Yeah, you are going to be very badly outnumbered during a lot of the fights in this game. And the thing is, that wouldn't really be a problem if it wasn't for one thing. Those goddamn support riders. Every turn, all they do is hang back and fire curses at you that drop your defences, allowing their allies to bomb the tar out of you at long range with missiles. They're incredibly frustrating to fight because all they do is hang back, making them very, very difficult to take out. Honestly, I think this problem could have been solved and made them much more interesting to fight if you limited the range of their abilities. If they had to get in closer in order to hex you down, that would make it a balancing act, figuring out when they were getting too close and taking them out. That would also be good for giving Akari and the Phoenix a really important job, since her entire purpose is to rush out in front of your fleet, take out an enemy rider, and then pull back to where she can be covered by the rest of the fleet. Overall, the combat is still really damn good in spite of its frustrations. I still think it's in need of a few balance tweaks, but it's still really, really fun. Following the victory at Farport that ended First Arrival, the crew of the Sunrider have taken some leave, and as a result, the first hour or so of this game is spent during a beach party. I'm dead serious. And do you know what the worst part about this opening is? It totally works. Oh, good lord. You're serious, aren't you? Completely, yeah. Here's the thing. I really like this opening. It's actually a really good way to start the game, as it lets you get to know your characters better. It helps you bond with them. And the thing is, depending on who you talk to, you can find some really good humour, or some really nice touching emotional moments that really do help you bond. Overall, I think it's a great way to start the game, and it juxtaposes really nicely with some of the darker moments of the story. Ah, so it does follow the traditional trilogy pattern then. I will admit that it is traditional for trilogies to go darker in the second part, and Sunrider definitely does follow that rule. In fact, some parts of Part 2 get rather brutal. One part even elicited this reaction from me. Give me a moment. Oh, I really wish I was drinking something stronger than water right now. Yeah, bits of this game get rather unpleasant. And while the issues at hand are handled with the care and respect they deserve, I feel the need to stipulate that this game will not be for everyone. In fact, you can probably consider this a trigger warning. Are you all right? Yeah, I'm okay. Bits of Mask of Arcadius hit me pretty hard, though that does at least demonstrate how well written they are. During one sequence towards the end of the game where the captain needed a literal shoulder to cry on, I did not have to fake the tears. Sunrider continues to be exceptionally well written, managing to balance jokes about the size of Claude's boobs with some of the worst horrors of war. Overall, the story's probably not for everyone, but in my opinion it stands among the best examples of interactive fiction that I have encountered. There's not a massive amount to say about the art that I haven't already covered in the first review. However, I will admit that the character designs have grown on me somewhat. The ships and the riders continue to look absolutely fantastic, and I'm pretty sure that the backgrounds have gotten a boost since the first act. However, one tiny quibble I should mention is that during the final fight, the admittedly spectacular background can obscure the action at a couple of points. As I said, it's a very minor quibble. Also, in the previous review, I commented on the fact that occasionally there were some slowdown issues when using the skip function. I'm happy to state that that problem appears to have been solved. Once again, there's not really much new to say on this front. The music is still excellent, and the voice acting continues to be really cute and endearing. One comment I will make is that I did find that quote about the porn collection. It's definitely in there, but I leave it up to you to find it. I really enjoyed First Arrival, and Mask of Arcadius improves on it on almost every regard. As to whether or not you should buy it, well, it's still free. If you haven't checked it out, you probably should, although that's with a proviso that you should only buy it if you think you can handle some of the more disturbing moments. Overall, Sunrider continues to be very well written, the combat is excellent and enjoyable, and has enough difficulty options to prevent you getting too stuck, while also providing a decent challenge. At the end of the day, I really look forward to the third part, and I'm curious to see how my choices will affect the final game. Now, if you'll excuse me, I feel the need for a very, very strong drink. I'll see you later.